hard can it be able to breathe when you're presenting? Funnily enough, we do crazy things and create problems where we don't need them. Today we're going to look at how to make sure we have enough oxygen to the brain and enough wind power to drive the vocal cords. Welcome back to this weekly edition every Tuesday of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training and the best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery. We are bringing the show to you from our High Performance Center here in Akasaka in Minato-ku, the business center of Tokyo. Why the cutting edge? In this show, we are looking at the critical areas for success in business in Japan. We want to help advance everyone's thinking. So we'll be at the forefront, the cutting edge of how to flourish here in this market. Before we get into this week's topic, here is what caught my attention lately. The biggest and most powerful Japanese business federation is the Keidan Run. Its chairman, Hiroaki Nakanishi, recently told a news conference that lifetime employment is no longer sustainable. The link between tenure and wages in Japan is one of the strongest in the OECD countries. With lifetime employment, the firm is supposed to develop you throughout your career. However, more than 2/3 of Japanese workers believe they need further training, which is double the OECD average. Participation in lifelong learning in Japan is in the bottom quarter of OECD members. Also, the share of Japanese workers who find training useful for jobs is the lowest in the OECD. In other news, SoftBank has used at least 5 investment vehicles, including the $100 billion Vision Fund, to make its mobility investments. Deep pockets and aggressive investing tactics and sweeping vision of the future of transportation give SoftBank and its founder, Masayoshi Son, an outsized influence in shaping the entire industry. The Vision Fund has more than 30 investment professionals who work to promote cooperation and integration among the portfolio companies, which they refer to as family. Finally, Japan's greenhouse gas emissions fell by 1.2% in fiscal 2017, a 4th straight year of decline. The Environment Ministry said this was a result of increased use of renewable energy. Japan is targeting a 26% cut by 2030. So they are at 8%, 8.4% today. They have some way to go. This is episode number 88, and we are talking about what is the correct breathing method when presenting? Sore de wa ikimashou. So let's get going. Breathing is such a natural act, and normally we don't pay much attention. Somehow, though, when we're giving a presentation, our breath control becomes a factor of success. One component is our nerves, which are driving the chemical surge through the body, making our heart rate skyrocket, which speeds up our breathing pattern. If we are not breathing properly, we can have mental whiteouts of the brain because we are not getting enough oxygen. We can't remember what it is we are supposed to say. We get lost, we become panicky, and we come across as disorganized, unconfident, and flakey. Voice is driven on the winds of breath exhalation, and lack of breath power impacts audibility. If we don't have good breath control, we can find ourselves squeaking out to the audience in this little voice that says, "I'm not confident, I'm not confident, I'm not confident." We might find that our lack of breath control results in our final words of our sentences just dropping away to nothing. We often see speakers kill their key messages by not supporting the key points with their words voiced with power and conviction. There is no opportunity to punch out a strong message because we are just vocally doing a disappearing act in front of the audience. It could also be that we are becoming very breathy when we speak. It sounds similar to people who have respiratory illnesses. They always seem to be gasping for breath. Actually, they are. And so are speakers with no breath control. They simply can't pull in enough oxygen. The lack of breath control gets transmitted to our cadence of when we speak. A lack of air means we're confined to short, breathy sentences, and the lungs are only being filled in a very shallow fashion, just from the top portion. So, how do we stop this and better instruct our instrument, our wonderful speaking voice? I'm going to pass on what I've learned from nearly 50 years of karate training, where breath control is absolutely vital. It is very much the same method used by professional singers. Controlling our nerves is a key part of breath control because if we don't, we are working at cross purposes with ourselves. One of the techniques for controlling our nervousness is to go through some deep breathing exercises before we go on stage in front of the audience. We can do these seated or standing, and they don't take very long. Well, find out more when we come back from the break. If you want to become a fully competent and confident presenter, then do the High Impact Presentations course. We are all being judged when we speak, be it in the internal team meeting or in a public environment, be it the big bosses, clients, or an industry audience. Everyone is evaluating us. Don't blow it. Get the best training on the planet. Do the High Impact Presentations course now in either Japanese or English. The bestseller, Japan Sales Mastery, is the new Bible of selling in Japan. To sell to Japanese buyers, you need to create long-term partner-level trust, fully understand Japanese buyers' real needs, convince buyers with your solutions, overcome their hesitation, fear, and doubt, know how to ask for the order, ensure repeat orders. This book is the product of 30 plus years in the trenches selling in Japan. Order Japan Sales Mastery now. Welcome back. And if you would like to improve your public speaking skills, then take a look at our Successful Public Speaking course. This is a one-day program, and the next course will be held on July 8th. If you want to develop a very high level of speaker skill, then our two-day High Impact Presentations course will do just that. Japanese language versions are being held on July 10th and 11th, and later in the year on November 13th and 14th. The English version will be held on July 16th and 17th. The details can be found on our website at enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. Back to where we left off. Place both hands on your tummy and just touch lightly. As you breathe in, imagine you need to fill the lungs from the bottommost part of your diaphragm. To help us do this, we breathe slowly and deeply, and we can see if we're succeeding because the hands on our tummy are starting to move forward. This pushing out of the tummy is a good sign. It means we're doing the deep breath sequence correctly. We reverse the process and then slowly exhale, and the hands are drawn back in. We need to do this slowly because a bit too much force on the speed here, and we can become a bit dizzy as the flood of oxygen to the brain makes us feel a bit lightheaded. This diaphragm breathing is actually how we should be breathing all of the time. And I recommend you to start the practice and make it your default habit. When we're in front of the audience, they cannot see the breathing rhythm, so there is no need to feel self-conscious. Every breath we take starts at the lowest point of the diaphragm, and we sense our tummy being pushed out and then being pulled back in. This is how we should be breathing while we're on stage. Interestingly enough, if we lose the flow and suddenly the breath begins from the very top of the chest, we will feel our pulse rate pick up, our chest tighten, and our shoulders start to rise. This might happen at first before we can master this deep diaphragm breath control. So don't worry, just slow the breath down and concentrate on the lower diaphragm and try to push your tummy out with each inhalation. Once you do this, the cycle will reinstitute itself and you'll be getting plenty of air. The key is to pick this up in rehearsal. Correct breath control gives us the ability to make the tonal variations which keep command of our audience. We can bring power to words and build up to crescendos when we want to emphasize particular key points. It also helps us to relax and look super composed when we are standing in front of people. That confidence is contagious, and our audience buys what we are saying. And that is what we want, isn't it? Action steps. 1, get to the venue early and find a quiet, private place to do some deep breathing exercises. 2, place the hands over the tummy and check if we are breathing from the lower diaphragm or not. 3, make this method your default method of breathing from now on. 4, if you start to feel yourself lacking air, then reset and concentrate on breathing from the lower diaphragm. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show is here to help you succeed in Japan. Subscribe on YouTube, share it with your family, friends, and colleagues. Become a regular. Thank you for watching this episode, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Our website details are on screen now, enjapan.dale@carnegie.com. Awesome value. Please check it out. Also, please leave me some feedback on YouTube. I would love to know how this show helped you and particularly what other topics you're interested in for me to cover. Remember, I'm here as a free resource to help you. So just tell me how I can help you best. You might also enjoy my podcasts. Look for the Leadership Japan series, the Presentation Japan series, and the Sales Japan series. They come out every week. You'll find them wherever you get your podcast. If you like to listen to podcasts, that might be useful. Episode 89, we're talking about presenting our sales materials. Find out more about that next week. So, yoroshiku onegai itashimasu. Please join me for the next episode of the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show. We are here to help you, and we've only got one direction in mind for you and your business, and that is up.